Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Put Sage on it barbecue. I am Sage. Thank you for joining me. Today we're cooking something a little bit fun to cook, I would say, just because it's a very bland cut of meat. Now, that probably sounds crazy, but it's, I won't say easy, but it's at least easier to cook something like a pork butt, something that's just inherently flavorful. You could just honestly put that on a smoker with absolutely no seasoning, just as long as you keep your fire chamber moist, it's going to come out delicious. As long as, again, as long as you watch it, mind your fundamentals of barbecue, uh, it should be very good, should turn out very good. But this is not one of those things what we're cooking today. We are cooking pork loin. So, a pork loin, this is a half a loin. A full loin is actually bigger than this, but this is plenty, for, you know, 6, 7 guests, to be honest. So, we're cooking a pork loin, and this is where you kind of want to mind your flavors a little bit more. Your spices, your marinades, your rubs. You have to incorporate those things to get any flavor out of a cut of meat like this. Now it's a very tender cut of meat, so you don't have to worry about, tenderness. Again, as long as you mind your P's and Q's of barbecue, which you always have to do. But we'll have to use our imagination a little more and our skills a little more as far as how we're going to put a flavor profile on this. And speaking of, pork always marries very well with things that are sweet, so I'm going to make a apple jelly glaze, apple jelly barbecue glaze, I should say. That's going to go on top of this towards the end, but we're going to get into a little bit more before we even get that far as putting some flavor on this. So without further ado, I'm going to light the fire and then we're going to take a look at this pork loin. Okay guys, I got my fire started here. Well, my bag just fell over, but anyway, you can see it's starting good. I love these charcoal chimneys. So again, I'm going with charcoal and some decent sized wood chunks today for that smoke flavor. Again, if you can see the smoke here, I'm using the hardwood. I just kind of like that stuff if I'm going to go with a charcoal. So then we'll look at the smoker here. This is the one I used on the last video as well. It's just what I got here handy at the house. Use what you got. I do have a really big smoker. Well, really big compared to the two I have. Because, as you guys saw in the last videos, I got this barrel smoker here from Oklahoma Joe's. I've also got a propane smoker that I use. But I have a big smoker on a trailer that will make an appearance eventually. It's in a storage building, but it's a very nice smoker. But yeah, gonna go with the Oklahoma Joe's here. So I'm gonna let that charcoal heat up. Put my charcoal in there. And then I'll put my heat diffuser plate that you see there. That's my charcoal basket. And we're going to go take a look at the pork loin now. So we're back inside. Before we get started with the pork, I just want to say again, I love doing this. Please like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing here. Barbecue is a labor of love, as I've said before. There is a brotherhood. Speaking of, another channel that I've started watching, a new channel, and I would highly advise you to check it out. Noxipator Barbecue is what it's called. I'll try to figure out how to put a link down in the bottom. I don't know how to do that yet, but this guy's doing some really cool stuff. Some welding, some smoker builds and mods on top of, of course, barbecue and cooking. And just like that channel, it's always been my intent to make this channel because it is about more than barbecue. Life is about more than just any one thing. So, I hope that this channel branches out finds its voice, and we just kind of figure it out together where we're going and what we're doing together. I don't know everything. I don't know everything about anything, barbecue included. I always hope to be a student of barbecue. You know, I love watching these other channels. I love seeing what other people are doing, and that's how I learn and I grow and I get better. And your comments help. Thank you so much. Let's take a look at the pork now. Okay guys, I'm making a simple Cajun marinade to inject in this pork loin. I started with just a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil and a 1/4 cup of red wine vinegar, which I've already mixed those two together in this bowl. So after that, just to give a little bit of heat, I'm going to go with chili powder, just maybe 1/2 teaspoon. I'm not trying to go crazy with the spice here. If I can get it out of here. There we go. Okay, so about 1/2 teaspoon of that. I'm going to put a little garlic powder in it. Again, just about 1/2 teaspoon. I'm not a huge garlic fan personally, but I do like a hint of it. So again, I'm not going to go crazy there. Black pepper. Regular old black pepper. About 1/2 teaspoon of that. And kosher salt. Again, I'll go with about 1/2 teaspoon. Maybe 3/4. Probably a little more salt. At least that's what I'm doing today. So that's kind of what your marinade is going to look like. It's not a ton. I'm just going to put a little bit inside of this pork here. A little bit of a tip. Sometimes this will get stuck in the needle of your injection apparatus. One of these here. Just because of the, you know, if you've got coarse grain pepper or even the chili powder. So I put it in the microwave, heat it up just a little, then I'm going to inject it into my pork loin here. So I'll be back. So I'm taking a moment just to gather myself. This is real life, folks. This is I don't want to say not as easy as it looks, because I'm definitely not making it look easy. Some people do make this look easy, but it's because of, you know, 54 takes and, you know, better equipment and whatnot. So today has been Murphy's Law. You know, anything that can go wrong will go wrong and has gone wrong. I could not find my recipe for the marinade injection that I used. And people are going up and down the road, really trying to impress me with their Mustangs and whatnot. But anyway, so this marinade, I'm just going from memory, what I can remember. Meanwhile, while I'm trying to find all my supplies, my charcoal burnt completely to ash, so I had to kind of start over with the charcoal, so it's reheating. But it's frustrations, but that's things you need to see too, I think. I'm not going to edit it out. It is what it is. It happens. It will happen to you. God bless those days when everything goes smoothly and perfectly, and everything is where you left it or thought you left it, and your fire management is perfect, and your time management is perfect. Sometimes it just doesn't go that way. Today is one of those days. But the charcoal's heating up again. And then I'm going to get this on the smoker. By golly, one way or the other, we're going to have a smoked pork loin. So bear with me. Okay, so I've got my charcoal basket down in there. I've let that charcoal start to cook down a little bit. Probably not as much as I should, but hey, I'm ready to barbecue. What can I say? You see, I've got some pretty decent size. These are applewood chunks. It's just what I had on hand. So now I'm going to kind of assemble this back and we'll take a look at that. There's our heat condenser and a can of liquid. It's just water. Check. And there's our cooking grate. So as you can see, this is really giving off the smoke right now. And again, that's just where that charcoal is still kind of burning down where it actually needs to be. But the smoke is blue. That's kind of what you want to look for real. You got black smoke, you got problems. So smoke is blue, it smells good, and that wood's starting to burn as well. So I'm going to close this up, let it come up to temperature, and then we're going to put the pork loin on. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, I always try to cook with any kind of smoker with the dampers wide open at all times. Once you start to close those off, that only means you've added too much wood. It's poor fire management. And you know, I've been guilty of it. Sure, again, you get in a hurry, you just kind of maybe overestimate, and there you are. So people will close these dampers off here to try to get this back down to the temperature they like. That actually starts to smother a fire. So their wood will turn, or not their wood, their smoke will turn from this blue color to kind of a black color. Start to smell a little dirty, a little sooty. So I try to keep these open at all times, even if my smoker temperature gets higher than I want it to. Personally, I'd rather be smoking this pork loin at 325, you know, even 350 to be honest, before I'll close those dampers off to try to bring that down to 250, 275. I'd rather just have a more of a hot and fast cook, and my flavor profile be a lot cleaner. So that's just a tip for you. Okay guys, we're sitting at about 250 right now on the Oklahoma Joe. So don't mind my fence. That was blown down by this last storm. Some tornado activity here. It's a rental property. They're supposed to come and fix it. So anyway, we're gonna get back to this. Collar looks beautiful. Gotta try to do this left-handed. Oh well, I made it happen. All right, collar looks really good, and we're gonna close it. I don't want to lose too much heat. The smoke is starting to die down here. If we can get a good look at that. So again, that's kind of what, let me get out of the source of the wind here. If you can see, it's getting to where it's just almost hard to see the smoke, except for when the wind blows. But yeah, the thinner that gets, the better off we'll be. More is not better. As it cooks down a little more, that'll just start to thin out and just become like a vapor. The wind is picking up, so that's why it's starting to billow a little bit more. It's pretty windy here today. But anyway, I'm gonna let that go and we'll check on it here. Oh, probably about an hour. Pork loin doesn't take too long. You know, it's not like a brisket or, you know, something bigger, even like a pork butt. You know, I expect this to be done in, honestly, probably a couple hours. But I'll check back in about an hour, maybe spray it down a little bit. We'll see. When you barbecue, you have this downtime in between. Just kind of when you got the fire settled and everything's going your way. And that's always a good feeling, because it's not always the case. But anyway, you get a few minutes to kind of relax. I think that's my favorite time. So I was just sitting here thinking about the direction I'd want the channel to go if I had it my way, you know. And I guess I do. But anyway, this channel, as I've said, will be more than about barbecue. You know, I guess it's about, not to get philosophical, but, you know, it is about life in a way. Barbecue's kind of like life. And again, I'm not getting philosophical, that's just facts. If you do this, if you smoke meat, you're going to find sometimes it can all go wrong. You know, it's been a pretty tough day today. You know, I've had a lot of stuff go wrong with this cook so far, or at least not go smoothly, and I've had to adapt and figure something out, overcome in some way. And you know, I'm not going to edit that stuff out, because you need to know that if you're going to do this. It is a labor of love. Sometimes it's very frustrating that cars keep continually driving down the road and don't have mufflers. Anyway. Anyway, sometimes it's frustrating. I've been out trying to cook in the rain before. I mean, sometimes it's one thing if you're just cooking for yourself, but I've had guests coming over or an event that I'm catering, and you know, it might look good as far as the weather when you start, and then it might just come pouring rain, and you've got to put a canopy up. If you don't have one, you know, you've got to either try to get your smoker under something, or just keep adding more and more wood, more and more charcoal. And those are very frustrating times. I have finished cooks in the oven before. Fortunately, you know, when you start a cook, you're typically thinking the weather will hold out, so your food generally gets enough smoke, especially if it gets to the point of wrapping. It's not going to take any more smoke after that anyway. Your smoker is just a heat source, same as the oven. I've put things in the crock pot before, just wrapped in foil and just stick it in a crock pot and finished it, and it was delicious. But you know, those things will happen. You'll be almost done and you'll run out of charcoal, or you'll run out of wood. And I do want to clarify, since I'm on the subject, the smoke that you're getting out of this smoker like I'm using today, you know, you're wanting to get that wood smoke. You know, that's what you're seeing, that's kind of blue. Even though that's a barrel smoker and it has a basket for charcoal, the charcoal's the heat source, particularly for cooking with this apparatus. The addition of the wood, that's the good smoke that you want. You're not wanting charcoal smoke. So there's different kinds of smokers. That's just what this is. Again, I have a propane smoker where propane is the heat source, but you add wood chips, and again, that wood burns and gives off the smoke. And like I said, I got a big smoker that you'll see at some point on a trailer. That's what we call a stick burner. It's all wood. That's my favorite. No charcoal, no propane. The wood is the heat source as well as the source of the smoke, where you get that flavor from. But anyway, back to my original point. Like I said, I hope the channel grows and finds where it's going to go, finds its voice. I'm having fun with it. I'm going to check on the meat. Okay guys, I thought this had leveled out, but it's about 315, and I can see in my mind the barbecue connoisseurs reaching for my dampers. Here, let me close those off. But no. Like I said, things have not went according to plan today. My charcoal chimney just basically burnt completely out while I was upstairs trying to find my ingredients for my marinade and whatnot. So those things happen. So I had to add all new charcoal. Did I add more than I needed? Apparently so. But that is okay, because again, I'd rather that temperature be too high and this smoke be just, see how it's just translucent. It's getting even thinner the more it cooks down here, right? That's what I want. If I close those off, yeah, my temperature is going to drop. I can get it down to 250, 275, whatever. But this smoke's going to start to smell a little dirty. Going to start to get a little black. And I'm not willing to sacrifice flavor. Not just flavor. It's just going to make it taste dirty. If you've ever had it, you'll know. Barbecue cooked with dirty smoke has a very distinct flavor. But anyway, so I was going to take a peek. It's been about an hour. Ooh, nice. Nice color. And again, just want to keep it moist. And that, folks, is why we keep that fat cap on the bottom. Right? For times like this. So even if that bottom layer, you know, gets a little crusty, for lack of a better word, you know, that's going to protect all of that meat up above. Because if you've ever seen a brisket, I mean, a brisket just gets the bark, what they call the bark, all over. You may have almost a little bit more bark on the bottom where the heat source is, but it's just going to be a little layer, right, 1/4 inch. The rest of that meat's going to be absolutely delicious. So, just going to let this ride. Check back. Okay guys, just came to check on this. So I've inserted my thermometer, as you can see, about as dead center as I can. And it's actually a few degrees over 140, probably about 145. So again, you can see where it did get a little warmer than I wanted it to, but again, that's not going to hurt a thing, trust me. The rest of this looks beautiful. It's going to be beautiful on the inside, so I'm going to take it off. That's that. Okay, so I took the pork off. I'm going to make a quick glaze. As I said before, some apple jelly. Don't have to be a ton. Now I'm just going to go with about 3 spoonfuls of this here. And then we got some barbecue sauce of your choice. I'm going to do about the same, 3 spoonfuls. Then some chili powder. I'm just going to go with about 1 spoonful. This is a pretty good sized spoon. This gives it a little heat. And then mix it together. I'm actually going to microwave this to thin it down just a little bit. Okay, so I microwaved that. It didn't take much at all. So now, that's what these brushes come in handy for. I'm just going to go over the top of that. Now this is going to rest for a little bit before we cut it up. You can put this on the last few minutes of the cook. I did not do that this time. The heat is sufficient as far as what is already retained on the meat, if you don't. Alright, now I'm just going to let this piece of meat rest. Got some potatoes cooking in the oven, and then I'm going to carve this up after it rests. Okay guys, that's rested about 30 minutes here. Let me get my camera right here. Sorry about that. So, this is just the juice on the plate. Boy, it smells phenomenal, that au jus. So, let me get that out of the way. Okay, so this I'm just going to cut this all right down the center here. It's a very thick pork loin. Wow, it's super tender, as you can see here. If I can get the camera angle right there, super tender piece of meat. It did go a little hotter than I wanted to as far as the fire, and I'm going to tell you, I didn't lose anything internally. That's what this looks like on the inside. So that's just my oven. So you can see these are bits of the marinade that I injected. Very tender looking pieces of meat. I wish the lighting was better so you could see that, but wow, it really looks phenomenal. And I'm going to give that a try. You can see again just how much moisture was retained in this. Okay, so as I've said, it's been a rough one, but all's well that ends well. My goodness, that is so good. It really, really is. Get all the flavors. I mean, I'm getting the injectable marinade on the inside. I'm getting the rub on the outside. I'm getting the sweetness of that apple jelly on top. Wow. So good. All right. I would definitely consider that a success. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, you know. We'll do it again next time. Thanks.